After the college entrance exam, I used my mom's ID to work as a nanny for a wealthy family. Employer Julian Zhuang compared the resume to me. Are you 43 years old? I had a perm and wore a floral blouse, speaking in a thick Hunan dialect. What's up? I'm already 45 in lunar years. Got 217 or 18 year old kids back home. Later on, I encountered Julian Zhuang during my university class. After class, he cornered me. 45, 2 kids, lifelong learning? I stammered. Professor, you must have mistaken me for someone else. Julian Zhuang's eyes glinted dangerously as he smiled. I still prefer when you speak in dialect. Me, oh my God, you can't fail me after the exam. My whole family worried about tuition and living expenses for my younger brother and me. My younger brother and I are fraternal twins. Since childhood, joy has always been doubled. But with both of us admitted to university, the cost doubled too. My parents are laborers with little education, having saved diligently for us over many years. But last year, my grandmother fell ill and spent several days in the ICU, which drained most of our education funds. At this point, our family has borrowed all we can, yet there's still a significant shortfall. My younger brother volunteered to work in a factory for these 2 months to earn living expenses. I wanted to go too, but my dad stopped me. That's a cement factory. It's not suitable for you. My mom had a sudden idea. She said she's been working as a nanny for others, and due to her good reputation, 2 job offers came her way. One of them pays well with light work, so I could go in her place. I gladly agreed, took my mom's ID, wore her old clothes, and went into the city. Arriving at the employer's upscale neighborhood, I knocked on their door. The door was opened by a slender, aloof young man. He had a pale complexion, delicate features, and an intense scholarly air about him. You are. To imitate my mom, I deliberately got a super, aging perm, wore thick, framed glasses, and put on her floral blouse. Hello, I'm here for the job interview. Hearing me speak in pure Hunan dialect, the young man named Julian Zhuang was slightly taken aback. He held my mom's resume, then looked at me. You're 43? Actually, Mom and I look quite alike, both tall and slender, just separated by over 20 years. I deliberately didn't wash my face for 3 days before coming. Could even that not suppress the vibrant collagen bursting from my youthful face? I quickly raised my voice. What's up, handsome? I'm 45 in traditional age. Got 217, 18 year old kids back home. Julian Zhuang. After a tense pause, he still let me in. They must have told you my main needs are 2 meals a day and light cleaning. I nodded. Got it. All good. Mom mentioned this Julian Zhuang seems to have poor health, with many strange allergies. So he can't eat takeout. He just returned from abroad. His parents aren't around, so the family wants to hire a cook who makes tasty meals. I just need to go to his place daily at noon, prepare 2 meals, and clean up. He'll heat dinner himself. Overall, it's pretty straightforward. Seeing how straightforward I was, Julian Zhuang smiled and said, All right, it's settled then. How should I address you? My mom's surname is Wang. I said, You can call me Annie Wang or Mama Wang. Julian Zhuang. Auntie Wang. At noon, I went to the kitchen and used their high and eco-friendly hypoallergenic seasonings to make sweet and sour pork and cold chicken salad, along with steamed rice. For dinner, I prepared shrimp scramble and spinach nut salad for him. When I went again the next day, I could feel Julian Zhuang was noticeably more welcoming. Auntie Wang, your cooking skills are great. The meals are delicious. Of course, the child of a poor family learns to manage early. I've been good at cooking since I was young, and my younger brother is quite the foodie. Sometimes, we deliberately save our pocket money to eat out somewhere nice, then try making the dishes ourselves at home later. If I weren't skilled in this, my mom wouldn't have asked me to work as a nanny. The next day, I made pork rib stew and pigs in a blanket buns for Julian Zhuang. He ate without even looking up. This flatbread is so fragrant, and it's delicious dipped in the soup. Feeling accomplished, I praised him. Julian, you really know how to eat. The soup is the essence. As they say, to win a man's heart, You must first win his stomach. If that's how it works. I've already conquered Julian Zhuang with my cooking skills. For over a month now, I've worked at his place in the mornings, then headed to the rental where my mom lives after work, spending my free time reading. Every day has been busy yet orderly, although Julian Zhuang seems reserved. Like an unattainable flower on a high peak, he actually talks quite a bit once you get to know him. He'd share about his work, tell amusing stories from his time studying abroad, and occasionally ask me things like, how many children do you have? Is it tough being away from home? How are the kids doing in school? And so on. I chat with him about all sorts of things based on my family situation. Both kids are in college now. My daughter's doing great in her studies. That's why I'm out here earning money. Julian Zhuang listened with keen interest, sometimes remarking with feeling, it's wonderful how the whole family pulls together. Once the kids are all grown, you'll have made it through the hard times. I laughed and said, you sure know how to say the right things. Julian Zhuang said, that's a fact. As long as family is together, it's happiness. Seeing a trace of loneliness on his face, I couldn't help asking, what about you? Where are your parents? Julian Zhuang thought for a moment before saying, actually, my parents divorced when I was young. Later, Mom remarried and lives with my stepfather now. A single parent family, I remarked with feeling. Does your stepfather treat you well? After a moment of silence, he said, stepfather is decent to me, but he has his own children. Mom, recently, has been busy helping my stepbrother prepare for his wedding, busy managing someone else's son instead of her own. How lamentable. Noticing my silence, Julian Zhuang said, don't look at me like that. I'm fine. Someday, I'll have my own family. There was an inexplicable sadness in his voice as he spoke. I encouraged him. You definitely will. With your handsome looks, finding a wife should be easy. Julian Zhuang finally smiled. Yeah, definitely easy. A month later, the dog days of summer arrived. The city began experiencing torrential rainstorms. One day when I arrived at Julian Zhuang's house, the sky was so overcast it seemed ready to drip. By the time I hurriedly finished cooking for Julian Zhuang, a downpour had begun. In weather like this, I'd be drenched before even stepping out the gate. Seeing my helpless sigh, Julian Zhuang suggested, Auntie Wang, why not stay for dinner? The rain might let up soon. I said, that works. After lunch, I found an interesting book from Julian Zhuang's shelf. The afternoon passed quite pleasantly, but the rain only grew heavier, pouring all day, without signs of stopping. Seeing dusk approaching, I decided not to wait any longer and put on my raincoat to leave. Julian Zhuang stopped me saying, it's too dangerous to go out now. Better wait a while longer. But waiting longer would make it even harder to leave. Noting my dilemma, Julian Zhuang said earnestly, Auntie Wang, safety first. You wouldn't want the children to worry about you. What's there to fear staying one night? There are 2 bedrooms here. Well, you might not mind, but I do. A man and a woman, alone together under one roof. Seeing my expression, Julian Zhuang chuckled. You're not worried about me, are you? Not exactly. I waved my hand. Forget it. I'll stay the night then. Reluctantly, I called my mom and explained the situation. She also advised against going out, saying it was too dangerous. Before hanging up, she added, Sweetie, take care of yourself. And remember, in our line of work, falling for a client is the biggest taboo. Me. Since I'm staying, I'll try to act natural. After 9, Julian Zhuang came out from his shower. His hair was fluffy, lightly falling over his brows, making him look younger than usual, like a fresh-faced young man. After sweating all day, a shower really hits the spot. Thoughtfully, Julian handed me some new toiletries and even passed me one of his mom's spare outfits. I took one look and thought, oh no, it was a shirt dress that reached mid-thigh, no different from what young girls wear. I was worried that after showering, my age would show, but in this sweltering heat, not bathing would risk offending Julian Zhuang's senses. So I marched into the bathroom with grim resolve. After a quick rinse, I dawdled my way out wearing that shirt dress. My damp hair was already tied up, though my glasses remained on. I knew my appearance had drastically changed from before. Now, I looked more like a college girl. Julian Zhuang glanced at me, his expression one of sheer astonishment. After a few seconds, he cleared his throat and said, "Auntie Wong, would you like to watch TV? My phone's dead too. It's charging right now." Accepting his invitation, I obediently took a seat beside him. Night had fully fallen as we sat shoulder to shoulder in the living room, watching television. For a moment, the atmosphere felt distinctly awkward. Nervousness crept in, my mouth dry as I stammered. But Julian suddenly remarked, "Mom does loads of beauty treatments to maintain her looks. Yet I've realized genetics matter most. You're 45, but you could pass for early 20s. I started elementary school a year late, so I'm not even 20 yet." Afraid of blowing my cover, I quickly laugh it off. "You sure know how to flatter a fella." "Well, I'm gonna hit the hay." Julian Zhuang seemed to want to say more, but seeing how tired I was, he considerately said, "Go ahead then. There are blankets in the bedroom." I breathed a sigh of relief, but as soon as I turned around, the lights flickered and suddenly went out completely. It was the first time I'd experienced something like this, and I couldn't help but let out a sharp yelp. Only after crying out did it occur to me, was that sound a bit too shrill? Julian didn't seem to notice, just reassuring me, "Don't worry, it's probably a voltage fluctuation from the rain. We've lost power." Great, just what I needed. Pouring rain on a leaky roof. In the darkness, I struggled to keep my panic in check and said, "No power's no big deal. I was going to sleep anyway. It'll surely be back by tomorrow." I turned around and started groping my way back to the guest room, but it was pitch black, and I could barely see a thing. My foot caught on something, and I stumbled, falling right onto a warm surface. Oof. I must have bumped into some part of Julian Zhuang, as his muffled groan was unusually distinct. With my vision gone, my other senses became exceptionally sharp, especially my sense of smell. I could detect the fresh, clean scent of Julian Zhuang's recent shower, pleasant and somewhat intoxicating. Then came the sense of touch. Losing my balance, I instinctively pressed both hands against Julian Zhuang's chest. My fingers met the thin fabric of his clothing, and I could even feel the warmth of his skin and the rhythm of his heartbeat beneath. He wasn't as slender as he looked, quite well built, actually. "Are you all right? Are you all right?" We spoke in unison. I took a deep breath, feeling my face grow warm. "I'm fine. I can stand up." In the darkness, only the sound of our breathing seemed to exist. Whether it was my imagination or not, Julian Zhuang's heartbeat grew faster and louder, almost as if it would burst through his chest. "Auntie Wong, don't move around." His hand steadied my waist, his voice low and husky, piercing straight into my ears. My whole body went weak. This level of stimulation was just too much. I really can stand up," I was stammering. In my panic, I seemed to brush against something hard. "What is this? Julian Zhuang. Is he having a reaction to me?" But my current identity is a 45-year-old mother of two. Thankfully, amid all the chaotic fumbling, I managed to stand up. I'm going to bed." I stumbled back to the bedroom, bumping my left foot and right hand along the way. But I couldn't care less, quickly scrambling into bed and wrapping myself tightly in the blanket. What on earth just happened? I wasn't entirely sure and lacked enough experience to analyze it, but my face burned with embarrassment, and I tossed and turned half the night before finally drifting into a fitful sleep. The next morning, the rain had already subsided. I tiptoed my way back home, not even daring to say goodbye. After that, Julian Zhuang seemed to change a bit. He kept stealing glances at me, intentionally or not, quickly looking away whenever our eyes met. That scrutinizing gaze seemed to carry a hint of lingering ambiguity, and I couldn't stop replaying that night in my mind. That magnetic voice and scorching touch were relentlessly challenging my once simple worldview. I felt like men and women were like chemical reagents. Add a catalyst, and they react instantly. The night of the blackout acted as that catalyst, subtly changing something between Julian Zhuang and me. Once, while I was distracted cooking, I accidentally burned my hand. Julian Zhuang rushed over anxiously and, without a second thought, put my hand in his mouth. Me. He seemed startled too and hurriedly explained. Saliva can disinfect. Me. I was completely stunned, unable to utter a single word. If this kept up, I felt like I wouldn't be able to leave this house anymore. Fortunately, school was about to start soon. So, on the last day of September, I handed in my resignation. Julian Zhuang froze and asked, "Why?" So suddenly, I cleared my throat and said, "Well, I need to return to my hometown. There are many family matters requiring my attention." Julian Zhuang bit his lip, his face pale as he said, "Auntie Wang, did I do something wrong? I can raise your salary. Could you please stay? The current salary is already very generous. Any more would be unreasonable. I'm just a housekeeper, not someone indispensable." His reaction left me flustered and uneasy. "No, it's just family matters. My husband isn't well, and I need to go back to care for him. I'm sorry, Julian. I'll find you a more suitable replacement later." I rinsed the cleaning cloth and gently placed it by the sink. A long silence lingered behind me. I sighed and was about to open the door to leave when Julian suddenly rushed over and grabbed my hand. Startled, I looked up and met a pair of earnest, conflicted eyes. "Auntie Wang, He resembled a young man, mustering courage for a confession, his eyes filled with anticipation and reluctance. My heart tightened, and I quickly cut him off. "Julian, I'm 45, and I have 2 kids at home. I really have to go." After saying that, I forcefully shook off Julian Zhuang's hand and quickly ran out. After leaving, I felt an emptiness in my heart. The look Julian Zhuang gave me before I left was just too pitiful. In that moment, I didn't feel like his housekeeper anymore, but like a heartless girlfriend abandoning him. Sigh, but what else could I do? I know Julian Zhuang has it tough. Beneath his cold exterior lies a passionate heart starved for love. He wants a family, wants to meet a girl who likes him as much as he likes her. But I just don't suit him. I hope he finds a good home in the future. After I quit, my younger brother also made a triumphant return from the cement factory. Our family reunited once again in Mom's rented apartment. My younger brother and I have always had a love-hate relationship. As soon as we met, he showed me his phone balance, bragging, "See this? This is my hard-earned money." "Huh, only 8,000. I showed him mine. My younger brother's eyes widened. 10,000? Is housekeeping really that lucrative? I sighed inwardly. What I'd given wasn't just my cooking skills and labor, but genuine emotion too. As my brother and I joked around, Mom handed me a paper envelope. The matchmaker brought this over. Said it's a thank you bonus from the employer for your hard work these past few months. I opened it and was stunned to find 10,000 yuan inside. Did Julian Zhuang give me this extra? I froze, guiltily saying, "We should return this money. It's not right to take more when I've already been paid." Mom replied. I tried to refuse, but they insisted, said we absolutely had to accept it. I had no choice but to bring it back. For a moment, I truly didn't know what to say. My brother stared in disbelief and muttered, "Damn, if I'd known nannying paid this well, I'd have dressed as a woman and signed up too. I can cook." After months of sun and wind at the cement factory, hauling and lifting, he transformed from a pale tech guy into a tanned, muscular jock. It felt like I had a whole new brother. Mom suppressed a laugh and said, "Next time there's such a good opportunity, I'll save it for you." After saying that, both my parents burst into laughter. My younger brother also giggled uncontrollably. The whole family was filled with joy and harmony. Only I suddenly thought of Julian Zhuang's cold, empty big house, with just him inside. A week later, I started school. Everything at university felt thrilling and exciting. Wherever I went, everything seemed fresh and new. Since I had earned quite a bit of money during this period, I generously bought myself a new tablet and phone, though neither was expensive. At my mom's urging, I also bought a few new clothes. She said, "Money can be earned anytime, but youth only comes once. Dress up and enjoy it." So, I no longer had to hide my bright eyes behind thick, framed glasses, or wear dowdy floral, patterned jackets, and tapered pants. When I walked into the classroom with a simple ponytail, a crisp white tee, shirt, and light green shorts, I caught many people's attention at once. After class ended, I received several friend requests, mostly from guys in our major. My roommate Maid chuckled beside me. "Wow, you're practically the class belle now." I replied, "Not at all. Right now, I really don't have the mindset for dating." When the next class began, I opened my phone to check the schedule and saw the teacher's name clearly written, Julian Zhuang. My eyes widened, and I looked again. Julian Zhuang? No way. Could it really be such a coincidence? But that name shouldn't be very common. Besides, I remember Julian Zhuang did work at a university. My heart clenched nervously, pounding nonstop. He won't recognize me. I silently reassured myself. Ring, ring, ring. After the bell, a familiar figure strode confidently into the classroom. The moment he appeared, a wave of soft cheers swept through the room. Wow, he's so handsome. University actually has such a top-tier guy. Mom, I'm going to study hard. Julian Zhuang's expression was icy, with a hint of world-weary asceticism. Hello, everyone. The requirements for this course are listed here. We use process-based assessment. Attendance comes first. Miss more than 40%, and you're ineligible for the exam. His voice was as cool and detached as his demeanor. Julian Zhuang laid out a long list of demands from the podium, utterly strict and indifferent to our survival. But the girls around me whispered, "A teacher this handsome? I'd never skip class even if it killed me." "Yeah, totally. Who's going to ask for his WeChat?" Mimi nudged me. "Hey, class beauty, getting the hot teacher's WeChat is up to you." Me, no need to ask. I already have his WeChat, but I didn't dare speak, keeping my head down the whole time, terrified of being noticed. Soon, Julian Zhuang took out the attendance sheet and began calling names. When it was my turn, he called out, "Fei Feng." That was my name. I meekly replied, "Here." Julian Zhuang paused, glancing at me expressionlessly. At that moment, my heart leaped into my throat. But then, nothing happened. He continued taking attendance as usual. I couldn't help but glance up. Surely, he hadn't noticed, right? Seems like he didn't. While relieved, I also felt a tiny pang of disappointment. It seems the events of that summer would eventually fade into oblivion for both of us. Just like that, the class ended. Julian Zhuang taught brilliantly, clear, engaging, and well, researched. So this was how he shone in his professional role. After class, all the students left the room. Suddenly, a message popped up on my phone. "Come to the utility room." The sender was Julian Zhuang. Oh no, he'd found me out. I could barely breathe. My heart raced in panic. Should I go or not? This was a seriously tough decision, but he's my teacher. I can't run from this forever. Avoiding it won't solve anything. Thinking of our last meeting, I couldn't help but clench my fists tightly and take a deep breath. Maybe I should go and clear things up. It was lunch break, and thankfully most people had gone to the cafeteria, so there was hardly anyone left by the water room. I shuffled over slowly. Julian Zhuang stood there, his gaze indescribably strange. A mix of anger and barely contained exhilaration. Seeing me dawdle over, he enunciated each word. "Feng, Qian, Yi." I meekly replied, "Yes." Julian Zhuang snorted coldly, step by step backing me into a corner. I felt completely engulfed by his shadow. Professor, you must have mistaken me for someone else." I decided to put up one last resistance. Julian Zhuang sneered. 45 years old? 2 kids? Never too old to learn? I stammered, "Professor, you really have the wrong person." Julian Zhuang's eyes glinted dangerously as he smiled. "Auntie Wong, I still prefer when you speak in dialect." I covered my eyes and pleaded, "Oh my God, you can't fail me." Julian Zhuang drove me out of the school. "I checked your schedule. You have no classes this afternoon," he said coolly. Then, we arrived at a restaurant. Julian Zhuang ordered dishes for me and said, "Let's eat first. After that, I want to hear your explanation. How exactly did you drop from 45 to 20? I ate the meal without tasting a thing. Julian Zhuang ate nothing, just stared at me intently the whole time, as if afraid I'd run away. After a while, I finally couldn't take it anymore and put down my chopsticks. Teacher, actually, it's like this. After I finished explaining everything from start to finish, Julian Zhuang looked at me coldly and said, "Is there anything else?" I shook my head heavily and answered honestly, "No, I've told you everything." Julian Zhuang let out a long sigh, and after a long pause, said gloomily, "Do you know how I felt all this time? I'm sorry. You know how conflicted I was back then. Right, I'm sorry. Fei Feng, how are you going to make it up to me?" "Make it up to you?" I said gloomily. "Actually, you didn't lose anything. Housekeeping is housekeeping. There's not much difference between my mom and me. Actually, I cook even better than her." Julian Zhuang said calmly, "This is blatant deception. If I file a complaint, do you think your mom could still find work?" I immediately yielded. "Teacher, I was wrong. How can I make it up to you?" Julian Zhuang looked at me intently and said seriously, "Be my girlfriend." This wasn't my first confession, but it was the first time I felt so nervous and conflicted. "This isn't really appropriate." Julian Zhuang raised an eyebrow. "You don't want to compensate?" I hurriedly said. "No, it's just not really appropriate," he retorted. "Are you married?" I shook my head. "Got 2 kids at home?" "Of course not," Julian Zhuang said. "Even when I thought you were 45, married with 2 kids, I still fell for you. Now, nothing can stop me." He paused, then added slowly, "Unless you don't like me." Before I could react, Julian Zhuang leaned in and whispered temptingly, "Do you like me?" "Do you?" "I suppose I do." But I tried to speak, yet my words were silenced by his lips. He kissed me gently, then deepened it gradually. When I was breathless, he held me tightly and said, "Be with me." I couldn't resist his passionate confession and finally surrendered to my feelings. After that, we began dating in secret. Julian initially disagreed with keeping it underground, believing that since we were both single, dating was our freedom, but I was very concerned about his status. After all, you're a teacher, and at school, it doesn't seem appropriate. Everyone in university is sharp. The students notice everything. Julian was teaching our class. If people thought he was favoring me or faking my grades because of our relationship, it wouldn't be good. It wouldn't be fair to me either. Besides, students these days are quite bold. They'll publicly expose you online or write lengthy PowerPoints at the drop of a hat. Teachers should be even more cautious, right? Because I said I minded. Julian Zhuang was convinced by my reasoning, and sneaking around in a relationship is actually quite fun. During class, he'd wink at me from the crowd. Classmates would say, "Don't you think the teacher smiles a lot more lately?" Me, "Not really. It's about the same." The student next to me added, "He smiled at me 3 or 4 times today." Seriously, me, when there were no classes, we'd date off, campus or at his place. Whenever we talked about the period after I resigned, Julian Zhuang would always be full of resentment. "I couldn't eat, couldn't sleep. I was thinking about you all the time. If it weren't for your family situation, I would have chased after you recklessly. Age, profession, status, none of it matters when it comes to feelings." I was a little touched, but still whispered, "You don't have some kind of mommy complex, do you?" I may be somewhat attractive, but if he'd go for someone dressed like my mom, his taste is pretty out there. Julian Zhuang. He pushed me onto the sofa, fuming. "Oh, so you dare mock me now?" Then he started tickling me all over, targeting my most sensitive spots. Only when I couldn't take it anymore and begged for mercy did he kiss me gently, and I kissed him back until there was no space left between us. When 2 people like each other and their souls align, being together is pure joy. But halfway through the semester, a post suddenly appeared on the school forum, exposing my relationship with Julian Zhuang. The girl in question is Fei Feng from the Times major, who declared herself the class belle upon enrollment, juggling several guys at once. A true master of diplomacy. Rumor has it she comes from a poor family and has been fishing for a golden bachelor. But the most shocking part is that she's even snagged the school's famous heartthrob, Mr. Zhuang, and they've started dating. Not only do they frequently date off, campus, but she even stays overnight at his place. It's utterly disgusting. Shouldn't the school authorities rein in such a promiscuous, shameless girl? The post included several photos taken covertly with a phone, showing Julian Zhuang and me holding hands in the residential compound. By the time I noticed, there were already over 100 comments below. No way. Julian Zhuang is my idol. He's dating a freshman? That's creepy. My illusion is shattered. This is just a money for favors deal. The professor gives high grades. The girl sleeps with him. Ugh, how disgusting. Don't say that. Even though they're teacher and student, they're both single. Nothing says they can't date. I'd love to date Professor Zhuang too. Yeah, Julian Zhuang is a famous academic prodigy. He even skipped grades abroad. He's only 26 or 27, barely older than students. It might sound bad, but love is free. Who knows if there's something shady? Might even be compensated dating. Female college students these days are no simpletons. Few spoke up for me, but countless others were slinging mud. I was shocked. So, this is what cyberbullying feels like. Some people don't even know me, yet they speculate about me with such extreme malice. Everyone in the dorm looked at me, their eyes full of astonishment. I explained, it's not what they're saying. I quickly called Julian Zhuang and told him to check the post. Julian Zhuang said, "Don't worry, I already know. Rest assured, it's easily resolved." I anxiously replied, "Really? Will it affect you? If this keeps escalating, will it turn from campus gossip into a full-blown public scandal? If everyone finds out, it'll be even harder to clear our names." Julian Zhuang told me not to worry and insisted I attend class in the afternoon, promising he'd handle it properly. I didn't know how he'd manage it, but I trusted him. That afternoon, as soon as I entered the classroom, I became the center of attention. Everyone was whispering and discussing. I was utterly mortified and could only pretend nothing was wrong. Fortunately, my dorm mates were considerate. They sat with me, chatting to cover my embarrassment. When the class bell rang, Julian Zhuang arrived as usual. The classroom fell silent instantly. Someone murmured softly, "Everyone's here. Is he going to debunk the rumors?" But Julian Zhuang acted as if he knew nothing and began the lecture. I had no idea what he was up to and could only listen numbly. Just before class ended, Julian Zhuang paused and said, "Let me share something unrelated. Yesterday, a post about me appeared on the school forum. Since it's caused quite a stir, I'd like to clarify." He looked steadily at me and stated, "Fei, Feng, and I are indeed dating, and it's a serious relationship with marriage in mind." As soon as he finished, the classroom erupted in a chorus of astonished exclamations. Whistles and cheers nearly lifted the roof off. I was stunned. He didn't deny it. He confirmed it. Then, Julian shifted his tone. "Fei has been troubled by our teacher. Student dynamic. Worried it might lead to unfair assumptions about grading and evaluations. To avoid such issues, I began the resignation process last month. It's officially effective today, so after this class, I'm no longer a teacher here. From now on, I'm just Fei Feng's boyfriend." Rumors stop with the wise. I hope everyone shifts focus from online gossip. May our school trend for academic achievements, not scandals. The classroom nearly exploded after he spoke. "Holy crap, you resigned? For real? This can't be fake, right? Is this some idle drama?" They're dating with marriage as the goal. Why don't such good things happen to me? From now on, I'll do one good deed a day. May sat beside me, stunned. "You, Daji incarnate, reincarnated 9-tailed fox. What love potion did you feed Julian Zhuang? He actually resigned for you? Me? I don't get it. Don't ask me. I know nothing." After class, the students dispersed in small groups. Julian Zhuang sat next to me, teasing, "Are you dumbstruck? Why so quiet?" After a long pause, I finally said, "You really know how to keep a big secret." He's the type to pull off major moves without a word. Julian Zhuang held my hand, smiling. "Actually, I've wanted to resign for a while. I didn't want you under so much pressure every day. Besides, resigning isn't as troublesome as you think. It just means returning the few 100,000 settlement allowance, which I haven't spent anyway. And that's simple? I asked. Then, what about your future? Julian Zhuang said. Actually, from the very beginning, I received offers from several schools. I came here because a senior I'm close with was here, not because it offered the best conditions or suited me most. I plan to work at the neighboring university in the future, I said dumbly. Neighboring university? Julian Zhuang said. Yeah, now, that senior is so angry he won't speak to me anymore. Since it doesn't matter where I go, I might as well be closer to you. Me. Life feels like hard mode for me, but for him it seems like easy mode. And he even has the nerve to be shamelessly confident about it. You. Julian Zhuang raised an eyebrow and said smugly, what do you want to say? Are you touched? I was touched, but what I really wanted to ask was, do you really like me that much? Julian Zhuang was speechless for a moment. After a pause, he said softly, yes, I like you, so much that I don't know what to do about it. With Julian Zhuang's resignation, the rumors collapsed on their own. No more wild guesses appeared under the post, though someone did upload a video of Julian Zhuang's speech that day. Because of his handsome looks and deep affection, he quickly became an internet famous teacher. After he left, I heard he significantly boosted the enrollment rate at the neighboring university. I don't know if it's just my imagination, but I always felt the dean looked at me with deep resentment. Well, I felt pretty embarrassed about it too. Later, Julian Zhuang told me he'd looked into it. The post was made by a girl from our major who lived in the same neighborhood as him. She seemed to really like Julian Zhuang, but unfortunately, he never noticed her, not even approving her friend request. She accidentally ran into us in the neighborhood once and secretly took those photos. Maybe her jealousy got the better of her, leading her to do something like that. After this incident, the girl seemed quite shaken and transferred to another major not long after. I had thought about talking to her, but now it wasn't necessary. Just like that, for years flew by. Julian Zhuang and I were still deeply in love and planned to get married right after I graduated. Now I've found a suitable job, and my parents have already met Julian Zhuang when he came to my house as a guest. Although my younger brother always teased me, he had to admit that Julian Zhuang was flawless. He could only nitpick and say, men's abilities decline after 25. Your boyfriend is almost 30, right? Well, better make the most of your time. Who are you saying is declining? I sneered. My boyfriend is just fine. Thank you very much. Worry about yourself. You're already 24. Only 1 year left. And the saddest part is, you don't even have a girlfriend. Hit right where it hurt. My younger brother grumbled. You care more about your boyfriend than your own brother. I laughed with a smug expression. My parents were extremely satisfied with Julian Zhuang, saying he checked all the boxes. A university professor, wealthy family, handsome, and with great character, almost the perfect son, in-law in their eyes. Julian also liked my parents a lot, saying our family had a particularly joyful atmosphere. That's true. Although we weren't wealthy, we were always happy, which is why both my brother and I are optimists. After enjoying a big meal at my house, Julian and I headed back home together. Ever since we took our relationship to the next level 2 years ago, we've been living together and have grown increasingly inseparable. As soon as we entered, Julian Zhuang pinned me against the wall and kissed me passionately. I moaned, "Turn on the light first." Julian Zhuang kissed me breathlessly, pausing only to say, "That blackout years ago, do you know what I wanted to do?" I slid my hand to his waist and teased, "What did you want to do?" Julian Zhuang chuckled, scooped me up, and wrapped my legs around his waist. Pressed tightly together, he whispered in my ear, "I wanted to do this, that, and that." I wrapped my arms around his neck and gently nibbled his earlobe. "Professor, don't bully me. I'm still young. I'm so scared." Julian Zhuang's atoms apple bobbed. He couldn't hold back any longer and carried me into the bedroom. Leaning over me, his voice husky, he murmured, "Class is about to begin." After a wild night, we both overslept the next morning. Seeing Julian Zhuang still deep in sleep, I went downstairs to buy breakfast. As I entered, I heard he was also awake, talking on the phone with his mom, probably because I wasn't around. The call was on speakerphone. You're not getting any younger. It's time to get married. I've found a great match for you this time. Why not meet her? A blind date? Over the years, Julian Zhuang's mother had persistently urged him to go on blind dates. The matches were, of course, carefully selected wealthy young women handpicked by his mother, all of whom Julian Zhuang had turned down. His voice continued, "Mom, I've told you, I have someone I like and plan to marry her. Let's have a meal together sometime so you can meet her." Julian's mother replied, "Meet who? I heard you like some poor student. What's the point? Dating is one thing, but marriage is out of the question." Hearing such words, my heart inevitably sank. No matter who you are, everyone hopes for their parents' blessing when getting married. Why does Julian Zhuang's mother only see money? At that moment, Julian Zhuang noticed me and quickly ended the call. "Darling, don't mind it. She just says things like that casually. I don't take it seriously at all." He patted my head. I felt a bit down, but still nodded. Got it. Although I knew Julian Zhuang's feelings, being looked down upon still made me somewhat sad. To cheer me up, Julian Zhuang specially took me to eat my favorite dishes and pamper me well that night. After a couple of days, my mood improved. While cleaning, I suddenly found a floral pattern blouse in the old Annie style I used to wear, tucked inside the cabinet door. I held it up to Julian Zhuang. "Where did this come from?" Julian Zhuang looked a bit embarrassed. After I pressed him for a while, he finally said, "I bought it." I laughed loudly. "Did you buy it because you missed me? To keep something to remember me by? You didn't do anything uncivilized to it, did you?" Julian Zhuang. Chuckling, I ran back to the bathroom, curled my hair with a flat iron, then walked out wearing that outfit. "Hey Julian, what would you like to eat today?" Doing it all over again could be quite fun too. Julian Zhuang couldn't help but laugh, pulling me onto the sofa. "I want to eat you." I flipped over to pin him down, gripping his chin fiercely. "Speak, do you have a mother complex? Otherwise, how could you have liked me back then?" Julian Zhuang said, "I'll be honest, I just like you, no matter what you're like." I leaned closer and whispered softly, correct answer. There's a reward." After saying that, I teasingly moved to kiss his lips, tempting him. Just as we were about to touch, Julian Zhuang's front door suddenly swung open. Julian Zhuang's mom happened to witness this intimate, R-rated scene. Her eyes widened like saucers as she rushed over, exclaiming sharply, "Xian, WH, what is going on here? Who is she?" Julian Zhuang calmly pulled his half-removed shirt back on and said, "This is my girlfriend. Since you've met, it's a good chance to get to know her." His mom was horrified, shouting at me, "How old are you? Who are you?" I was feeling a bit embarrassed, but suddenly the word showtime popped into my head. "Now, it's showtime." With my perm-styled hair, I spoke in a Hunan accent. "Auntie, I'm 45 this year. I'm Julian's girlfriend." Julian's mom. "Impossible, impossible. You're lying. I won't allow this." I was laughing hysterically inside, but put on an honest face and said, "Auntie, Julian and I are truly in love. Don't worry, I'll take good care of him and have children. I can still bear kids at my age. I already have 2 back in my hometown." Julian's mom nearly fainted from anger. A week later, while I was at work, Julian Zhuang called me with a laugh. "Have dinner with my mom tonight. Meet again? Last time, we nearly had to call an ambulance." Julian Zhuang said, "Don't worry, just come as yourself. Mom won't recognize you." That's true. In the evening, I did some light styling and arrived on time for the meeting. As the private dining room door opened, Julian Zhuang's mom immediately stood up with a warm smile, saying, "You must be Xiaofeng. Come in, come in." Her enthusiasm made me a bit nervous. I glanced at Julian, who simply smiled without a word. Throughout the meal, Julian's mom treated me with great kindness, nodding approvingly when she learned I worked at a major tech company. "I heard you have a younger brother?" I replied, "Yes, he just graduated this year and passed the civil service exam. He works hard too. He says he wants to be my support, so people won't hesitate upon hearing I'm from a rural family with a younger brother." I told him proudly, "You've always been my pride." The dinner was pleasant. Mrs. Zhuang was gentle, easygoing, and understanding. After the meal, she gave me a thick red envelope as a meeting gift and politely added, "Another day, I'll invite your parents to dinner. We should sit down and discuss wedding plans." After the driver picked her up, I felt confused and nudged Julian. "What's going on? Did she have a change of heart?" Julian Zhuang suppressed a laugh and said, "You really got to her last time. Now, she's not even asking me to find some wealthy heiress. Just anyone who isn't a 45-year-old mom of two will do." Ha ha ha. I clutched my stomach, laughing so hard I could barely keep my balance, unable to stop. I'm amazing, using the same move to win over both mother and son. Julian Zhuang, caught between laughter and exasperation, held me in his arms and whispered, "Time to prepare for the wedding, Mrs. Zhuang." I rested my head on his shoulder and whispered back, "Please take care of me from now on, Mr. Zhuang." Like the eternal moon, like the rising sun, we sealed our vow with a kiss, promising to be even better together from now on.